Let's go live to Washington correspondent Annelise Nielsen, who's at Capital One Arena and has been there throughout all of the action today. Annelise, Donald Trump has wasted no time getting to action.
No, with a number of executive orders signed at the Capitol, some more here, and he's indicated he's on his way to the White House, where he's going to sign an executive order releasing some of the people who've been convicted of actions that were criminal during the January 6th riot of the Capitol. So what we're anticipating here is at least a few hundred people being released. Most people who were January 6th rioters pled guilty. There were about 127, I believe, that went to trial, and of those, just under 90 resulted in guilty convictions. So there are quite a few people we're talking about, and they're mostly based in a jail in downtown DC. So we're expecting to watch that all unfold this evening as well. It is very cold, which does tend to help with things like crowd control and keeping people from hanging around longer than they would, which is exactly why we are in the Capital One Arena. This was a presidential parade unlike any we've ever seen in US history. The fact they did it in the Capital One Arena, this was full MAGA. The fact that we had so many people here who had travelled from across the country to celebrate Donald Trump's inauguration, but many of those who would normally go to Trump rallies themselves, and they did get a bit of a taste of what that is normally like. There were welcome speakers, there was music, you could see people in the stands dancing, they all had the MAGA merch. And this is really the reshaped Republican Party. This is what Donald Trump has done now in taking over the Republican Party and coming back with this historic win to have a majority in the House, a majority in the Senate, win the popular vote, win the Electoral College vote, to have that mandate coming in. This is a very different Trump coming this time around. When he was on stage, they brought up family members and some indeed hostages from Gaza, some who'd been kidnapped from Israel, and in that he kept them on stage throughout his speech, and so he went off onto other topics, but then he did go into the January 6th rioters and repeatedly referred to them as hostages, and so the inference to be drawn there was that he was comparing the two classes of people, which is, I'm certain, is going to be raising the ire of many in America who are very unhappy with how January 6th riot at the Capitol played out. But essentially, a lot of time's passed, and so the polling that you see about it, and we saw in the lead up to the election, was that people had really lost their anger over it, or they were as resigned with the same level of anger from what they felt in the immediate aftermath, but it essentially fell down party lines. Most Republicans didn't care and wanted to move on. So this is the first day of the Trump presidency. He became the president formally at noon today by the rules of the Constitution, and we have 4 more years from today.
We do, and he hasn't wasted any time in taking action here. I mean, many people, we knew that he talked about pardoning the January 6 rioters. We knew that was likely coming, but some may have not expected for it to happen so quickly. A lot of people saying, though, that this Donald Trump 2.0 feels a lot different, that the atmosphere is really different this time around, and it's extremely notable too. What do you think, and what do we think are going to be the key differences here moving forward?
Yeah, look, this time around, it wasn't such a surprise that he won in the first place. This time around, what we've seen is that they're better prepared. They have a lot more people who understand the Washington, D.C. establishment who are coming in, and it doesn't mean they're wedded to it, but they're ready to upend things. I know Paul Murray was talking about that in some detail before, and he was absolutely right that a lot of these picks are really ready to work and to know how the system works. And he spent a lot of time already working on personal outreach with Republican senators. They're going to be the ones that might hold him back on some of the key things he wants to do on things like trade. National security is a very strong issue of unity on Capitol Hill. But if you look at what he signed those declarations on today, getting out of the Paris Climate Accord, he said he was going to do it, it's done. What he said he was going to do about mandating federal workers have to come back to the office. Everyone knew that was coming. Everyone in DC, I can tell you, is furious about it. They don't like it. It's happening. And what he said is that he's going to have this Department of Government Efficiency. It now seems like Vivek Ramaswamy won't be part of that, per an announcement from the White House earlier today. That's in anticipation of him running for governor of Ohio. Governors are very powerful in America and set you up for a long, very powerful career. So that maybe indicates some longer-term ambitions for Vivek Ramaswamy to come round again. And then I think we're going to be seeing a lot more of Elon Musk. He got a rock star reception when he came in earlier today, and everyone's very excited to see if he can actually get us to Mars, as promised.
Annelise, I won't keep you too long. I mean, you have had a massive day. We're so grateful to have you inside there, but also I'm kind of jealous, I have to say as well, in there for everything. I just wanted to get your thoughts. We heard before from, Anthony Albanese, Justin Trudeau, all coming out, really changing their tune on Donald Trump. It's almost like they just want to get on that front foot to ensure that they are friends with the US moving forward, because some would say that they're looking a little bit frightened of the US if they're not.
I mean, well, Justin Trudeau should be frightened. His career was almost ended by, well, it was ended actually by Donald Trump's tariff threats and the way he couldn't handle that. Anthony Albanese, I think we do have a very strong position as Australians. Everyone I know who's been working on these approaches with the US government says it's all about the fact we have a trade deficit, and that's what is going to be the thing that gives us the big advantage when dealing with the US. There's also the cultural alliance between America and Australia, the historic national security, the fact that we're so well positioned in the AUKUS submarine agreement is so critical to that. The fact that Penny Wong was invited into the capital, that means we were top 500 to have a representative in there, and the rest of the diplomatic corps. And I mean, even powerful people like governors were out in the Emancipation Hall. The fact that they wanted the symbolism of the Quad leaders was a message to China, and I'm sure that message would have been received. And I think for Australia, a lot of it's going to be just trying to replicate the success of the relationship the first time around, but realising that we're not that special anymore just for not being offended by Donald Trump. The first time around, they had trouble getting any foreign countries to play nice because everyone treated Trump like a joke, and that was one of the ways we got in. No one's treating Trump like a joke anymore, so we don't get to play that card.
Yeah, everyone taking him seriously this time around. Annelise, we'll let you go and take a breather. Thank you, as always. Amazing job. We'll catch up with you soon. Thank you.